In the months ahead, President Trump's pro-growth economic agenda will be fully realized. We're working hard now on the tariff side of the president's economic agenda, but don't forget the next side of this is tax cuts, and we're counting on Capitol Hill to get those done, the largest tax cuts in history. The president was very quick to put out a statement about his support for the reconciliation package that the Senate passed, and he is counting on House Republicans to pass it.
All right, joining us now to talk about this, House members Pat Fallon from Texas, Russell Fry from South Carolina. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Pat Fallon, talk to you. I mean, we got the tariffs out there, and negotiations are now starting in earnest. Quite a few countries need some tax cuts to back that up, need some tax cuts to assure people there's no recession coming, or we just need tax cuts for growth. What's happening? How's my big, beautiful bill doing?
Larry, we love the big, beautiful bill, and it's like a 1-2 punch. We want to make sure that we have fair, free trade's great, but we need fair trade as well. But also, the American people need tax cuts. And if we don't get this done, 90% of American households are going to face a tax hike, and nobody wants that. And definitely the folks that voted for Russell and I and President Trump definitely want to keep more money in their pocket. So I'm confident we will get it done, and I'm optimistic the American people will like the result.
Russell Fry, is in the discussions, is there any talk about using tariff revenues for additional tax cuts?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, we're working hand in glove with the White House, and part of the reconciliation discussion is that tariffs could be used as pay-fors for tax cuts. Obviously, the president wants to make permanent his prior tax cuts from his first term, but he's got no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. These are all things that are kind of actively being discussed, and one of the revenue generators could be, and is part of the discussion, are these tariffs. So
let's just spend a moment on that. Pat Fallon, let me get this right. You have the big six. You've got two from the White House, Bessent and Hassett. You've got the two leaders, and the Speaker and the Majority Leader, and the two chairs of the tax writing committees and so forth. Where are we in this process? In other words, the House now has to pass a budget that reacts to the Senate budget. We're not really in reconciliation territory. You all have to get your own budget. Is that right?
Yeah, we have to accept what the Senate just sent over, and that's not going to be the final product. That's more of a framework, and then we will, fine tune it, and then it will, it'll go into conference, and then we'll have a final product that both the Senate and the House will have to pass. We had in our package that we originally passed, Larry, $1.5 trillion in spending cuts, and we need to have spending cuts. A lot of us came to Washington to work towards balancing our budget. $36 trillion is far too high of a debt, and we don't want to keep digging. But in order to get that process and keep it moving, we have to accept what the Senate sent over as a framework.
All right, but Russell, there's a whole bunch of our friendlies from the House Freedom Caucus. They say they're going to be against all this. And me, I just want to have lower tax rates and grow the economy at 4% a year would solve a lot of problems. I'm not opposed. I mean, you want to cut spending, but I hear there's talk about raising taxes. I mean, some members of the Freedom Caucus are talking about raising the top income tax rate or the corporate tax rate, which I think, Russell Fry, would be sheer folly. First of all, you won't make any money on it. Second of all, you'll depress the economy. Third of all, you'll damage small businesses. Why are they talking like this?
I think the interesting thing to note is, if taxes are going to get raised, if we don't act, your taxes and everybody else's are going up. 210 million Americans will see that happen if we fail to act. So the pressure is actually good, and this town responds to pressure. And so we have to get this done. From the spending side, like Pat Fallon, we have an obligation to the country to turn the fiscal trajectory. And so this week is one step, obviously, but that is not the final product. The House called for $1.5 trillion in savings to the American people. I think we could do that, without a lot of fanfare. And so that seems to be the hang-up right now, is people are looking at any number of options. Again, the framework is important to start the discussions of legislating, of putting this package together, the one big beautiful bill that you talked about, but we have to unlock it in order to do that. And so these discussions, I think, are important, making sure that we're holding ourselves accountable, but at the end, where we all are in the House and the Senate, from moderate to conservative members, is we want to provide this win for the American people and the president.
But Mr. Fallon, can you assure us there won't be any tax hikes? I mean, if you raise the top rate, which is paid by small businesses, if you raise the corporate rate, holy hell's going to break out. This is like Papa Bush. Remember that? Read my lips, no new taxes. Then he raised taxes and got defeated. And, you know, can you assure us there won't be any tax hikes in this package?
Well, Larry, he raised taxes and he gave us Bill Clinton. So, no, we don't want another Bill Clinton 2.0. So we're not going to raise taxes. I'm certainly not going to vote for it. And I don't think I'll be alone. I think there's going to be more than half our conference wouldn't support that. So it's unfortunate chatter and it's idle chatter. And I don't think it's going to get anywhere. I agree with you. Just like President Reagan said, when you cut taxes, you grow revenue. And that's what we're out to do and accomplish for the American people.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Pat Fallon and Russell Fry. We appreciate it very, very much.